Fruit! Fake! Fake! Fake grapefruits! Fake! Liar! You liar!
Hey everyone, yes, we are actually live. Not that I intended this, but oh man, what a week. It is kind of a free-for-all out here on the highway. And I got pulled from one set of plans to another. So you guys get to join me live. If an man is there participating in the background as moderator, he can't send me questions. So I'm not trying to ignore anybody, just trying to keep 4 eyes on the road and my brain on what is happening. All right, it is the Friday free-for-all, and here we go. There's one thing out there that's on everybody's mind, with the exception of nuclear war, let's see, the southern border, kids being groomed for perverts, Hunter Biden. No, basically, we know what we want to talk about, and I'll stay on here as long as I can keep a train of thought and, like I said, keep it between the lines. I'm gonna have to go. Got a special trip. Gonna meet up, do some training, do some talking, discussion, and I tell you what, down here in the state of Florida, people are pissed off. Professionals, people who normally are very reserved, were blowing their lids today. A very good friend of mine has well, you could say a politically sensitive line of work where you just don't talk politics. And even they are all talking politics. And that is the whole Trump conviction of 34 felony counts of nothing, as in nothing, not a zip zilch, niente, nine, nothing. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, what does this mean for SHTF for it hitting the fan? That's the big question. So let's start with where do people get their news from? Well, people get their news if they're lost, they're getting it from the mainstream media, right? They have no other choice but to go to CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, CSNBC, MSNBC, and FNBC. No, I tell you, right? And what do they get there? You know, Trump is evil, Trump is bad, F Trump, Trump should go to prison, Trump needs to die, anyone who supports Trump is evil. Yeah, we've heard the litany, right? We know that. But even on CNN, Fox, and any of the other mainstream outlets, guests are coming on saying, no, you don't get it. This is really bad, really wrong. And we'll get to that here in just a second. The fear is starting to bite them because now there's a precedent set. Well, if you can go after a former politician for what he did, then everybody is now open for, well, whatever these 34 counts of nothing are. In fact, you don't even have to have something. You just say you're guilty and get someone to say, yeah, I agree. And now all of a sudden you're a felon. Isn't that amazing? A man who's a billionaire, he's supported countless families with his jobs, his charities. For decades, he's been in the limelight, a celebrity, a figure, a stalwart American, a huge taxpayer, a business entrepreneur. And now he can add to that, in addition to his 2 impeachments as president of the United States, he's a 34-time felon. What a crock of shit. I mean, but we have to look at this differently. Remember Martha Stewart? Yeah, not one of my most favorite people to talk about, but Martha Stewart was accused of insider trading, and because she's such an ice cold bitch, right? They had no problem saying, yeah, guilty, send her to jail. And they did for years. Martha Stewart went to jail and didn't want to drop the soap, for years. Nancy Pelosi makes $150,000 a year. Oh, but she, she's not going to jail for insider trading, and neither are the rest of Congress. In other words, there's a 2-tier system here. But on the same mainstream media I'm talking about. There are people saying, and also, of course, alternative media is, now is time to put together your enemies list. It's time. If they can do this to Trump, then it needs to be a returned favor. And people are not being shy about it. They're listing the same politicians we talk about: Bill Clinton, Obama, Pelosi, Eric Holder, former Attorney General. Hell, why not Bob Barr, Attorney General for Trump, who would do nothing, or Jeff Sessions, who did nothing. They sat on their hands. They didn't do their jobs. How about James Comey, former head of the FBI? Did not do his job. Dereliction of duty. Let's just call it dereliction of duty, and it's a class 75 super duper felony with cheese on top. Send him to jail forever. Just make shit up. See, that's what they're worried about. The very thing they were accusing Trump of. He's going to go after his political enemies. Well, who is doing that? Who is going after their political enemies? The Biden administration. The Biden administration. The Democrats. And don't forget our good buddies, the Rhino Republicans, right? They're no saints in all of this. Woo! So even in the news, they are getting alternative opinions, the same way we got yesterday with the United States Supreme Court, a unanimous decision that no, the National Rifle Association has the same free speech rights the rest of the country does. They can talk about guns all they want. You can't silence them. And now again, the majority opinion on that was written by the Democrat pig Sotomayor. I don't like her at all. You know, she brought race into the Supreme Court by making comments about, well, finally we got a smart Latino woman here. And it's like, really? That's where we're going? You've made it that far? The pinnacle of judiciary excellence in the United States of America, and you're going to bring race into it and a bunch of gender shit? But, you know, hey, even she was like, nah, free speech. And commentators are saying this is a political mistake that is going to have consequences for years and decades, whether or not we reserve our republic or we get turned into a communist dictatorship. It's on. We're at that place now, folks. We're at that point in history. Something similar happened in Nazi Germany in 1930s. They had the Reichstag fire. Now that was Congress burning over there. And then Hitler was like, well, shit, I'll just be a dictator. We don't need no Congress. And that's how that worked, right? Well, here, right, they're just saying, hey, we don't need no elections. We'll just be in charge. No arguing. No other voice. See, this has everything to do with censorship as well. Judge Merchan, who there aren't enough foul four-letter words to describe this man, if he's even a man. There's not enough to say about him for what he has done. He needs to be more than sanctioned for his decisions. He needs to have more than being thrown off the bench and disbarred. He needs to have more happen to him than that. He ought to be, and I wonder, and I don't know if judges can be legally or personally liable if they have grievously, grotesquely, and in every known way violated the Constitution, the rules, court policy, court procedure, court precedent at every level. We're going to find out, folks. There's going to be hell to pay. Now, of course, I say make sure you've got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense in case the worst happens, right? Mad Max style SHTF. But we've got a government that is every bit as out of control. Now, in 2020, when we had the Summer of Love and you had your BLM, Antifa, and again, four-letter words can't describe how much I dislike those idiots. They were allowed and encouraged by, let's see, mayors, governors, city council people, legislators, all Democrats and rhinos, of course, not to mention, you know, Congress and Democrats everywhere. Oh, let's see, Kamala Camel Toes Harris, you know, what did she do? She encouraged them to continue. Now that was kind of a dereliction of duty, failure to uphold their oaths and do their jobs by allowing that. But now this is a quantum leap forward in government direct action that is causing a huge rift in America at the political level, not the street level with these idiot protesters, but at the political level. That's right, dude. You don't get to squeeze in there, pal. All right. So, little driving taunting I was doing there. So yes, the consequences of this, the fallout of this is tremendous. And the left is realizing, oh shit. Yeah, Trump can still run for president. Trump can be he's going to appeal this. There isn't one legal mind, not even a Democrat out there, that believes that he'll be sentenced and that it won't be overturned. Right? This and also right now there is a massive, and we're talking massive with a capital Z, massive push for the Supreme Court to hear this appeal on its face and just wipe it out, because it is preposterous. There are so many procedural failures, not to mention a lack of jurisdiction, right? The venue was just awful. The interference, the violations of rights, the whole thing is beyond bizarro and clown world and insanity. So if the Supreme Court steps in, can you imagine the howls, the lusty howls of anger and hatred by the left that is cheering this on? So let's talk about them now, right? The Hollywood elite, if you will, celebrities, even though there are people on the news who are saying this is not a good move in the mainstream, the others in the left, they're just screaming and loving it. They're gonna, Trump has lived in their heads since 2016. Their Trump derangement syndrome has not been satisfied by one or even two impeachments. They want to see Trump dead. And I'm surprised we aren't getting more assassination attempts, threats, and comments. But we did have author John Grissom, who does legal novels. Just the other day, he was on The View saying how he fantasizes about killing Supreme Court justices. So if the Supreme Court steps in and gets involved and says, this is beyond travesty. In fact, I think Justice Alito, ought to be writing the majority opinion right now. He should have his clerks on this right now and referring to the Declaration of Independence, because this is a political hack move, and it is designed to interfere with the election. It is designed to disenfranchise Americans, remove the candidate that they have sworn and said they want. Right? They voted. Everyone's we have one heck of a show going in Washington, in New York, around the world. Yeah, the left is pushing it. And again, their followers, right? Their followers are literally sheep, but violent sheep. Just how cool is that, right? Well, let us continue and look at the damage that's being done. The damage, and folks, you and I, we're at risk. You and I are at risk for what these ding-dongs want to do, these leftists out here. So keeping my train of thought straight just on this one topic is pretty tough. But the street ding-dongs, they listen to these celebrities as if they're gods and intellectual giants. They're not. But there's blowback. Well, let me go back into these celebrities. The little stunt that De Niro pulled has pissed off Kevin Costner, who turned around, I guess he's the producer / director of one of his projects, fired De Niro. Fired him for being a jackass in New York. because it puts Costner's movie in a bad light for keeping him on the movie. Now, I find this absolutely fascinating. I think maybe Costner has realized that if he's going to make, movies, Republicans are the one who are going to kick down, $9 a head or $20 to watch it at the movie theater or at home on on what, Amazon, Hulu, name your movie channel. Yeah, he doesn't want to alienate his audience. So it's good to see them afraid of losing money when it comes to pissing off Republicans. So there's fallout everywhere on this. Everywhere. Richard Dreyfuss, who doesn't look like the Richard Dreyfuss from the movie Jaws, 1976, or Krippendorf's Tribe, or now he looks like a really old Santa's elf from the North Pole. He's still a little funny guy, but he's not happy with it, right? And so he is speaking up politically. Now, I don't want to point to 2 or 3 celebrities and say, see, they finally learned their lesson. Fat chance learned their lesson. But it's having an effect. It's having an effect. I mean, people who worked and campaigned for and donated massive amounts of money to Hillary Clinton, they're having second thoughts. One of them even came out and said he will donate $300,000 to Trump publicly and throw his weight behind Trump. Senator Joe Manchin, because this has happened, Senator West Virginia, Joe Manchin, Democrat, switched parties. Now, while that does have an interesting psychological effect, see, they're abandoning the Democrat Party. Well, the Democrat Party today is a Marxist, anti-life, anti-American, anti-freedom, anti-rights, fascist party. So Manchin switching to become a Republican, and now we have a rhino. Okay, he's a Republican, but he still thinks like a stinking Democrat, right? He just doesn't like what's going on. So it's not like that's a huge victory. Like he took his brain out of his head and got a Ronald Reagan transplant. That did not happen. That did not happen. No, sir. So here we are. Now, while we're talking about Reagan, probably as much as I like Trump, I like Reagan the most. I can't think of another president I like more than Reagan until you get back to Andrew Jackson and Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, those guys. But I mean, Reagan was a Democrat until the 1960s. He was like, you know what, peace out, had enough, and you should just type in on YouTube Ronald Reagan's speech and go back and watch some of his speeches. It will blow you away. The intellectual discourse that he was involved in, the subject matter, how he addressed the concepts of freedom, liberty, American ideals, morals, values, is light years ahead of anybody in Washington, D.C., or anywhere in the country, in fact. He was truly a statesman and a great American. In fact, I was doing a project, contracting, and one of my customers had a framed picture. He had to clean out a room, but there's a framed picture of Reagan. He's still on people's walls. Now, back to Trump. Trump is the president that we get to have and deal with. What is going on, right? Well, I don't know. Let's talk about regular people now. We've talked about politics, the court, media. We talked about entertainers and their idiot followers. Let's just talk about regular old Republicans, people on the street like you and me. They're going nuts. Go on any social media and you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, this trial thing with Merchant and Ergo Dion, or whatever that fruitcake's name is, all these other judges, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh, wait, she's a Supreme Court justice. Then there was that. There's so many idiots on the left. It's hard to keep track of them. It's like herding retarded cats. So, that was funny, by the way. You're allowed to laugh. Yes, here on The Prepared Mind, we can say retard because we know what it means. Now, yeah, normally, under normal circumstances, train of thought, John, train of thought. When someone does something crazy on the road, it kind of distracts me. Normally, normally on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, you'll get one or two, and then you'll get like 10 or 20 other things before you get back to this Trump case. Now it's like 50-50 or more on the whole Trump thing and what people think. They're pissed. They are more active than ever. They say, look, I didn't really love Trump, but I'm voting for him. Or, I voted for Biden, but, I can't stand what they're doing. These are Democrats saying that. Then other people are like, you know what? I was just a voter before, but now I'm going to get politically active. I'm going to donate money. In fact, Trump, right after the conviction was handed out, made public, his website was hit so hard. Trump's website hit so hard with people donating money that it broke the website, broke it. He got like $28 million in no time. Website went down for a while because that many people were like, you know what? Screw this noise. That's what regular people are thinking. And they're all over TikTok. They're all over Facebook, Instagram. They're all over Twitter X. They're all over, for the most part, YouTube, as much as, YouTube will recommend the discussion. And I'm sure they're more than willing to make money off. I tell you. So, regular people are irate and promising to do more than just vote or talk about it or run their soup coolers. And so the slogan has been out there for a while, but it's probably a banner that I want to run with as well, and make voter turnout too big to rig. I like the way that works. Too big to rig. Make the win too big to steal, right? Too big to rig. That's the point. Now, for the leftists and their part, they're absolutely nuts. I mean, has there ever been a doubt? Just street Democrats, but they're quiet. They're hiding. Now, remember, communists are like snakes and trolls. They hide under rocks. They're slimy and filthy. Look at the things they promote, right? Sex changes for children. They hide school rapes. They want to give homosexual pornography to children all the way down to kindergarten. They'll hide the psychological trauma they cause your kid from parents so that parents don't know what's going on, right? Well, open southern border. Let's give billions and billions to a bunch of fruitcake Nazis in Ukraine versus spending money helping veterans or even homeless people here in our own country. Look what they turn the cities into. Absolute caca, garbage. And they're happy about it. They're proud of it. And then these Democrats, the ones who are going to climb back under their rocks, your neighbors, my neighbors, people, they're out there. Oh, they're out there. They're going to be quiet. They're going to stay real low. They're going to keep it real low, real quiet. See if this blows over and they can start talking their trash again. But I think they're afraid, a lot of them. The loudest and dumbest amongst them, they'll keep talking. But the ones that they just vote Democrat, they just vote for this shit. They're like, yeah, we love higher taxes, we love inflation, we love higher food prices, gas prices, we love the fact that we have brownouts. Yeah, this climate change is awful. I heard that Mount Rushmore went underwater the other day. Yeah, it's all true. I mean, talk about drinking the Kool-Aid, wearing a tinfoil hat, and leaving half your brain, in the toilet when you get done using the bathroom. These people are nuts. But most of them are very quiet. They quietly vote Biden. They quietly hate America. Quietly. The question is, what are you going to do about all of this? Now that we've talked about all the parties that are playing the game, where are we at time-wise? There we are. All the parties playing the game. They're out there. Right? What are you going to do, though? Are you going to get active? Are you going to make phone calls? Are you going to talk to your local political, shall we say, party, your local Republican party, and ask them, what can you do to help? How can you get involved in the election? How can you make sure there isn't thievery, lying, cheating? What can you do? Get active. If we don't get active now, folks, imagine this. Imagine if you and I did nothing. What can we expect to happen? Well, either Biden wins again, or he slips on a banana peel, falls down a staircase, gets tangled up in a tricycle, chokes on a hot dog, and dies. He'll be a martyr, and then Camel Toes Harris gets to be president. It's going to be worse, right? If they have another 4 years, we have to win this election. And the Democrats, for their part, think they're doing everything they can to win it, right? Get Trump convicted, sentenced, locked up, have his appeal destroyed, thrown out. That's what they want. They want to smear him, destroy him. They want to get him taken off of the ballots in all the states. That's what they're trying for. That's their goal. Their hope in all of this is they can get him off the ballots by telling states, you need to pass a law that anyone who's a felon can't run for president. What if Trump isn't a felon because his case is thrown out? Well, it kind of ruins that, So they're going to push. That's why they're pushing this pressure on the Supreme Court. They're trying to get Alito to recuse himself from anything having to do with the show trials. And by the way, Justice Alito came out and said, no, not happening. Not recusing myself. Pound sand. I'm sure he would have liked to have used words the way any good pissed off American would, because he's been insulted so much lately. But this is where we're at in America right now. You thought 2024 was going to be boring? Wrong. I'm still waiting. Right? If they throw out the conviction, how nuts will the left go? Will they pull a 2020? Will they scream injustice, unfair, the Supreme Court's out of control? Of course they will. That'll be what they scream. But, whether or not you believe them is immaterial. They believe their own story, the same way we believe our story, the way we go to people we want to hear and give us the the bias that we want. We want someone to tell us that we are right, that we know that and agree with us, right? We all do that. Right? Normalcy bias. We want to believe that we're normal. Somehow the left thinks what they believe and how they act is normal. To me, that's shocking. But it's true. It's true. They think they're normal and that they're sane and that they've got their act together. They think that. They think that. All right. Well, here we are. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. I'm sorry I couldn't answer questions, but on the road and all. I will be back, though, for Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. And I am wondering exactly how much crap is going to happen this weekend. Are we going to have false flags? Are we going to have left-wing lunatics feel empowered and go nuts? Are we going to have trans people doing mass murders? I wonder. We're going to find out. So do your best to be prepared for all things dangerous. You don't have to be paranoid. You don't have to act like a lunatic. You don't have to take your AR-15 out and show all your neighbors. You just have to stay aware and be prepared, because chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed to y'all. Semper Fi.